morning, and welcome to the Mental Breakdown. I'm Dr. Bernie Wilkinson.
I'm Dr. Richard Marshall.
Wait, the Morning Breakdown morning show.
That's right. It's okay.
So it's November 2nd, Wednesday, November 2nd, but we're recording for Thursday, November 3rd. I feel like I'm in Inception
Fell down
or something.
Fell down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's all. So we're recording this one, as we mentioned for the Wednesday show. We're recording several shows today just to keep on schedule when you're going to be out of town the next couple of days. So
Thursday at this time, I will be on my way to the airport.
Yes.
So we're recording today so that this can continue.
Yeah.
Because of my errant behavior.
Yes.
Okay.
How dare you travel to Arizona to do a workshop?
So it's really Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
What is Thursday? Grab bag.
I wrote it down this time.
Oh, he threatened to do that. Yes, we have a whiteboard in our studio, and there it is, grab bag. Thursday is grab bag.
That's right.
So grab bag is, we might talk about anything.
Right. But today, we are going to talk about saying no.
Okay.
Now, and there's a small caveat at the beginning of this, because I really don't like using the word no a lot with kids, with your kids when you're parenting. No is uninformative. No is non-specific. And so when your kids ask for something or they ask to do something and you just simply say no and they say why and you say because I said so, don't ask again, I said no, it's not very informative and it doesn't really serve the purpose of what you're trying to do as a parent.
Right.
So when we're talking about no in this context, it's a little bit different than what we would be talking about with parenting. Is that fair?
Exactly.
That's an easy little caveat there at the beginning.
You can't rush. You can't be in a hurry if you're a parent.
Right.
I mean, you just can't.
Yeah.
We all do it, but try not to rush through parenting.
Right. But what we're talking about with no here is no from the perspective of people asking you to do things or asking you to take on more responsibilities, and especially in preparation for the upcoming holidays. Mm-hmm. We have to be able to set limits for ourselves and again recognize that it's okay to say no.
It is. That's number one. That it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Then how do you do it?
Right.
Without feeling guilty or without offending anybody.
Right. And it's again, it's not always easy because we have those thoughts in our minds. We run through these scenarios in our mind, or sometimes we just get hit by that anxiety that says, man, if I say no, he's going to really be upset with me, or she's not going to ask me to do anything again, or, and so we have those anxieties and things in our mind that come in, but we have to step back and pause for a moment and really think about what's being asked of us.
Right.
One of my graduate professors, he was an older guy, and he retired while I was in graduate school. Fantastic guy.
Not because you were in graduate school, but while you were in graduate school.
He may have said, you know what, I've seen the best now. There's no.
He thinks on his feet. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Just throw it out there. So, but no, he one of the things he talked about, which I thought was really interesting, because he was old school, mm-hmm. and he talked about how he would sit in meetings. And if somebody asked him a really challenging question that he really needed to think about, mm-hmm. before he responded, he would, back in the days, you might remember, you could smoke like inside buildings and stuff,
sure.
like
mm-hmm.
office buildings and work buildings.
Right.
And so what he would do is he would sit back and he'd say, and he would get out a pipe, right. and he would pack a pipe. And so he knew that it took 3 to 5 minutes or something like that to pack a pipe, but he's actively doing something while he's thinking, and then by the time he finished, he had enough time to process and think about and provide a thoughtful response.
And that's really the best way to go about this. Mm-hmm. When somebody asks you to do something, give yourself time to think about it.
Right.
You don't have to say no right away, but you can say, I'd really like to do that. Let me make sure I have the time.
Right.
I really would like to do that, but let me make sure I can.
Right.
Okay, that gives you time.
Right.
You know, I was asked to do a project next semester, sometime next year, and I wrote back to the person and said, I'd really like to, let me check my schedule.
Right.
I didn't say yes or no right away.
Right.
I packed my pipe.
Yes.
And gave me time.
Absolutely.
Then I was able to think about it, and I went through the yeses and the nos and finally decided, okay, I think I can do it. Then I can respond and say, yes, I'll be available.
Right. Yeah. So you want to make sure that when you're asked to attend something that you're not necessarily overly excited about, or if you're asked to take on a project that you need to get done by the end of the year, and you know that, oh my gosh, I only have 8 weeks left, and I know that I'm going to be on vacation for 2 of those weeks, and so the holidays are there, and so I'm going to have these obligations. Is this really something that I want or can take on right now? Pause and thank them for the opportunity. Thank them for the invitation. Thank them for the question.
Thanks for thinking of me.
But
I appreciate the opportunity. You can start out with a compliment.
Right.
Wow,
right.
Thanks. I really appreciate the opportunity. Let me look at my schedule. Let me look at that week. And I'll get back to you.
Right. Another way to help you with that is asking for more details.
Right.
So if your boss asks you to work on a project, or we'll stick with that one first. Your boss asks you to work on a project, and you, in your mind, you're thinking, wow, this is going to be a tremendous project, and again, I have all these things planned. You ask your boss, well, what are the expectations? What all does it entail? Does it entail traveling? Does it entail this, or meetings and this and that? And so then you can take that information and say, well, it sounds like you need somebody who's going to be able to put a lot more time into it than I'm going to be able to, because you might remember, I'm going to be taking a couple weeks off in the next couple months, and so I may not be able to dedicate the time that you need to this project right now.
That's right.
So I may not. I'm just not going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a way to use the information to help you help guide you as you're talking to your boss. And again, saying no in a very polite and respectful and a gracious way.
That's right. And the other thing is, you have to say it in a very, you can't say it in a wishy-washy way. Okay. If you've decided no, if your decision is you can't do it or you don't want to do it, you have to be adamant from the very beginning.
Right.
And you just have to say, I'd really like to, I just don't have the time.
Right. Right.
Now, be careful, because the other person may try to talk you into it.
Right.
Well, what do you mean you don't have the time?
Well, I can get this person to take care of that stuff, and so then that will free up some of that time for you to be able to do it.
No, I'm not going to have the time.
Okay.
And then they say, well, I can do this. No, I'm not going to have the time. And if you just keep saying the same thing, eventually the person is going to either get tired of asking, because if you say, well, no, I might have the time, but I won't have this, well, then they will solve that problem for you. And then you go on to a third thing, and they'll solve that problem for you. If the person asking has the feeling that they can solve your problems and get you to say yes, they're going to keep pressuring you. That's what salesmen are trained to do.
Right.
They what are your obstacles? What's getting in the way here? They'll solve your problem so that you buy the product. So what you have to do is, no, I'm not going to have the time. No, I've really thought about this. I'm not going to have the time.
Right.
And
a key that you said there is, I've thought about this. So that's where you go back to that first step of packing your pipe, buying a little bit of time so that you can think about it, and that you can weigh the options and the viability of being able to do it, and then being able to say I've really put a lot of thought into it, and it just isn't going to work out. And like you said, you've got to be definitive about it and stick to it.
Yeah, and say, no, I have holidays, and I have and you don't have to explain all that. Just say, you're not obligated to explain all the details. You're only obligated to give an answer.
Right.
No, I'm not going to have the time.
Right.
The person asking you can't solve all of your personal and professional time problems.
Right.
So don't move down that street.
Right.
Just say, no, I'm sorry, I just don't have the time.
Right. And that, of course, brings us to the last one, and that is, of course, when you're asked to do things for the holidays that you just don't want to do. There will be times, and I'm sure we'll talk more about this over the next several weeks as we're approaching Thanksgiving and then Christmas and all the other holidays. and that is, you will be asked to attend parties, to get-togethers, or you will, perhaps even some of those things will be imposed upon you. And it's going to be really important that you again, identify what you can handle, what you want to do and what you don't want to do, and then stick to that as well.
That's right. Stick to your schedule.
Christmas will not be a failure because you don't go to the family get-together. It'll be okay.
The people who want to be there will be there.
Right. And if it's just too stressful or too overwhelming or too much of a challenge for you, don't do it.
Right.
So,
and people, we live in Florida, so people invite themselves to vacation in our homes.
Yeah.
And there are times when you need to say no. So, and you have to think about it ahead of time, because you could get people calling you asking, "Hey, are you going to be around for the holidays?" And so be prepared that if there are people coming in that you really don't want to have stay with you, then you have to have an answer ready, and do it in a polite way. Say, "I'd love to have you, but my children are going to be here then. I'd love to have you, but we're not going to be in town that week," or whatever.
Right. So, all right. So think about and plan for those things, especially again with the holidays coming up. Our schedules are going to become more and more packed with activities and events and things to do. So
obligations.
Make sure that you again, just recognize that saying no is okay. If somebody asks you, can you do something? Or are you able to do something? Are you willing to do something? That suggests that there's two possible answers, yes or no.
Right.
And so if the answer is no, it's okay to say no.
No. Right.
So, all right.
Good.
Well,
yeah, you're gonna need that in the next 2 months.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, I hope that's something that you'll be able to use in your day-to-day life. And I guess we'll be back tomorrow. Well, we'll be back in a few minutes again for
tomorrow
for Friday's show.
We'll be back on Friday.
It's really difficult to do that, to think about it that way. It's in my mind. All right. And what's funny is that it'll be released day by day. So for anybody listening, it won't make a difference. It's just in my brain, it's painful. So, all right. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the morning.
Have a good day.
Bye.